So the world has to feed 10 billion people by 2050. And we are supposed to do this while the planet is literally burning up, water is running out, and farmland is disappearing. Yeah, good luck with that, right? So let's talk about the 10 crops that are about to take over agriculture. And I'm not talking about some science fiction laboratory stuff. These are real crops that are already starting to dominate, and by 2030, they are going to be everywhere. Number 10, hemp. Hemp is basically the Swiss Army knife of crops. You can make protein from it, oil from it, fiber from it, even building materials. And here's the kicker. It grows in 120 days, needs barely any water, and actually improves the soil while it is growing. Companies like NewPlant are using their smart clone technology to mass-produce hemp plants that are stronger and more uniform than anything we have seen before. We are talking about a crop that uses 50% less water than cotton, but produces 250% more fiber. The hemp protein market alone is exploding. It contains all 9 essential amino acids, and unlike soy, nobody is allergic to it. By 2030, experts predict hemp cultivation is going to increase by over 500%. And it is not just for hippie health food stores anymore. Major food companies are already reformulating products with hemp protein because it is cheaper to grow, better for the environment, and consumers actually want it. Number 9, quinoa. Remember when nobody could pronounce quinoa? Now it is in everything. But here is what is really wild. We are only using 2% of the quinoa varieties that exist. There are over 3,000 types of quinoa, and most of them can grow in conditions that would kill regular crops. Quinoa is a complete protein. That means it has all the amino acids your body needs. It grows at 14,000 feet altitude. It survives in drought conditions that would destroy wheat. It actually thrives in salty soil where nothing else will grow. As climate change makes more farmland too salty for regular crops, quinoa is going to move in and take over. Scientists in the Smart Protein Project are developing new quinoa varieties that yield 40% more than current ones. They are breeding quinoa that can grow in European climates where it has never been grown before. By 2030, quinoa production is expected to triple, and it will not just be coming from South America anymore. Strawberries that cost $2.50 each. Sound insane? That's what Oishi's vertical farm strawberries are selling for right now, and people are buying them. Why? Because they taste better than anything you've ever had. They're available year-round, and they use 95% less water than field strawberries. Berries are growing at a 27% annual rate in vertical farms. That is the fastest growing crop segment in the entire industry. Plenty just opened a 237,000 square foot strawberry facility in Virginia that produces 4 million pounds of berries every year. No pesticides, no weather problems, no seasonal limitations. The economics actually work now. LED prices dropped 90% in the last decade. Energy costs are manageable, and consumers will pay premium prices for pesticide-free berries that actually taste good. By 2030, experts predict 30% of all berries in developed countries will come from vertical farms. That is a complete transformation of the berry industry. Number 7, microgreens. These tiny plants that restaurants charge you $30 for, they are about to become mainstream. Microgreens pack 40 times more nutrients than mature plants. They grow in 2 weeks. You can stack them 20 layers high in a warehouse, and they sell for $30 a pound. Vertical farms are cranking out microgreens with 95% less water than traditional farming. Aero farms and other major players are now supplying over 850 supermarkets. What used to be a fancy restaurant garnish has become an everyday food. Why? Because you can grow a pound of microgreens with the same resources it takes to grow an ounce of regular lettuce. The microgreens market is expected to hit $2.5 billion by 2030. That is a 1,000% increase from today. And here's the really crazy part. You can grow them anywhere. Abandoned warehouses, shipping containers, even your basement. Cities are treating these as critical food security infrastructure. Chicago just approved tax breaks for any building that converts to microgreen production. Number 6. Alternative protein pulses. Chickpeas, lentils, and dry peas are having their moment. The plant-based protein market is going to hit $27 billion by 2030, and pulses are leading the charge. But this is not just about hummus anymore. Companies like New Caesar have created chickpeas with 75% more protein than normal ones. They are using AI and genome editing to breed super chickpeas that yield more, need less water, and pack more nutrition. Beyond Meat is already using yellow pea protein in their burgers, and the economics are striking. Pulse crops fix their own nitrogen, so farmers save $300 per acre on fertilizer. Here is what nobody is talking about. Pulses make the crops that come after them yield 30% more. They leave the soil better than they found it. Studies show that when you plant wheat after pulses, you get 50% more protein in the wheat. By 2030, pulse production in the U.S. is expected to quadruple. We are going to be eating pulse-based everything: pasta, milk, meat substitutes, even ice cream. Lettuce is boring, right? Wrong. It is the gateway drug to vertical farming profitability. Leafy greens make up 46% of all vertical farming revenue right now. They grow in 30 days, stack efficiently, and people will pay $8 for a container of locally grown, pesticide-free lettuce. Gotham Greens is selling to 850 supermarkets. Their 210,000 square foot facility in Georgia puts fresh greens within a day's drive of 90% of the U.S. East Coast. No trucks from California, no E. coli scares, no weather disasters, just consistent local production year-round. By 2030, indoor farms are projected to produce 11 times more leafy greens per square foot than outdoor farms. The U.S. vertical farming market alone is going to hit $17 billion, with leafy greens leading the way. And here's the kicker. These facilities use 95% less water and zero pesticides. In drought-stricken areas, this is not just smart business, it is survival. Regular wheat yields have plateaued. Climate change is making it worse. Heat waves are cutting yields by 20 to 30%, but scientists just cracked the code with CRISPR wheat that can tolerate 105 degrees and still produce normal yields. We are not talking about genetically modified organisms here. This is precision editing. Like fixing typos in the wheat's DNA, the new varieties need 30% less water, resist major diseases, and yield 25% more grain. China is already growing CRISPR wheat on 15 million acres. The EU just approved gene-edited crops. The US is going all in. By 2030, gene-edited wheat is expected to make up 40% of global production. That is 300 million acres of super wheat that can handle climate change. And it is not just about yield. This wheat has more protein, better gluten quality, and longer shelf life. The days of watching wheat fields shrivel in heat waves are ending. Rice feeds 3.5 billion people. It also uses 40% of the world's irrigation water and produces massive amounts of methane. That's about to change completely. Scientists developed rice that uses 60% less water and produces 90% less methane. How? They are growing it like wheat, no flooding required. It is called aerobic rice, and it is already taken over in water-stressed regions. India is converting 2 million acres to this system. China is targeting 5 million acres by 2030. But here is the really wild part. Vertical farms are now growing rice. Yes, rice, indoors. IGS just proved you can grow rice in towers with 95% less water than paddy fields. Singapore pilot projects showed yields 15 times higher per square foot than traditional farming. By 2030, predictions show 10% of rice in developed countries could come from vertical farms. That is insane for a crop nobody thought could work indoors. Number 2, corn. Everyone thinks corn is just corn, right? Wrong. The corn of 2030 is going to be completely different. Scientists are developing corn with 25% protein content. That's double what it contains now. This is not feed corn or sweet corn. This is protein corn, and it is about to change everything. Why does this matter? Because corn already covers 90 million acres in the United States alone. If you can double its protein content, you have basically created the equivalent of 90 million new acres of protein production without clearing a single new field. The yield increases are insane. We are hitting 188 bushels per acre, with some areas pushing past 200. USDA projections show corn production increasing 13.7% by 2030, but that is just quantity. The quality transformation is what is revolutionary. High-protein corn means less need for soybean meal and animal feed. It means corn-based protein powders that actually work. By 2030, this super corn is expected to reduce the global protein deficit by 30%. Soybeans are about to explode, and it is not because of tofu. It is because of renewable diesel. The government just mandated massive increases in biofuel use, and soybean oil is the feedstock. We are talking about a 50% increase in demand just for fuel, not even counting food uses. But here is where it gets crazy. New soybean varieties yield 40% more oil and 20% more protein at the same time. Scientists cracked the code on making soybeans that do both. Brazil is already planting these super soybeans on 50 million acres, and the US is racing to catch up, with 90 million acres transitioning to new varieties by 2030. Global soybean production is projected to hit 450 million metric tons by 2030, a 35% increase from today. And with crush capacity doubling to meet biofuel demand, soybean meal for protein becomes incredibly cheap. This makes plant-based meat alternatives economically competitive with actual meat for the first time. We are looking at the crop that is going to reshape both energy and food industries simultaneously. So, there you have it. 10 crops that are completely reshaping agriculture. But here is the brutal truth. This is not optional. Climate change is hammering traditional farming. Water is running out. Soil is degrading. Population is exploding. These crops are not just trends. They are survival strategies. Farmers who do not adapt and grow these crops will be out of business by 2030. Countries that do not invest in these crops will face food security crises. This is the agricultural revolution nobody is talking about, but everyone is about to live through. The old way of farming is dying. These 10 crops are what is replacing it. And whether we are ready or not, 2030 is coming fast. The only question is, are we going to be eating or are we going to be hungry?